Hello.
Welcome.
Hello.
Vasily, you were really early. I think you you clicked on joining when we had the notification 15 minutes before.
Well, no, I always do connect about 15 minutes prior, just in case there is anything not working at my end, so I have time to fix it. But
So
no,
now everything is working, so that's perfect.
yes.
All right, so we are going to start, and I hope people will join as we speak. So welcome to the third webinar in our special series dedicated to the MENA region, Middle East and North Africa. Today's topic is increasing stakeholder engagement in quality assurance. And no matter the region, I think it's a subject and a challenge for everyone. So anyone can actually benefit from the webinar. Quick introduction, as usual, on our firm. HEADway Advisory is a consulting firm dedicated to higher education institutions with four main types of activity. The first one and main one is related to strategy. Second one is people headhunting services and executive search. My department is quality and accreditations on all subjects related to quality and accreditation. And lastly, information and data with the publication of white papers and newsletter. I am Mélanie Cadart, so I'm the director of HEADway Quality and Accreditation, and it is my pleasure to welcome Helmi HAMMAMI again. I think it's a great team for this third webinar. So I'm gonna stop sharing my screen and I will let you share yours, Helmi, and you have the floor.
Thank you, Mélanie. Hello, everybody. Glad to be here once again in this series of webinars related to leading transformation with the specific application to the MENA region. So basically today our topic will tackle an important subject, which is the engagement of stakeholders. Let me just make my screen larger.
Just if you don't mind, Helmi, quick reminder,
Yes.
If you have any questions or discussion subjects that you would like to have, please feel free to use the conversation feature of the Teams meeting, or raise your hand if you want to, to chat live, and you can let your camera on if you leave your camera on if you want. It's okay. Everything works with us. So now to you, Helmi.
Very good. So our topic today, I'm repeating myself in here, leading transformation, and we'll focus mainly on stakeholders' engagement in quality assurance in general and accreditations. So before we start, this is just to bridge with the two other sessions we've already had. So basically, when we speak about accreditations or projects related to quality assurance, let's agree on something, that these are not just auditing. It is not just a matter of checklist. It goes beyond that. It goes beyond the checklist to position accreditation in general and quality assurance projects specifically as a strategic dimensions in the transformation journey that any institution leads. And this is basically like what I've learned 20 years back when I started this journey with the accreditations project. So in here, whenever we are talking about strategic project, basically we cannot lead these projects or these dimensions by our own. We have the various stakeholders that we need to take care of. When preparing the slides, I was thinking, shall I start directly by putting some concrete examples that we will discuss later on, and throughout your questions, I'll be more than glad, to discuss with you. But then I said, okay, let's take a helicopter view, so that we have some flexibility of mind and to see where all this coming from and why we need to engage these stakeholders. And I would say that there are three nice frameworks, even for your future readings, that would help in shaping this engagement. So the first one is what we call the stakeholder theory. The second one is the social exchange theory. And the third one is the Levine's models of change. And you'll see, you know, the three frameworks, or these three frameworks, they delve into one direction, is how to get all these people around us as quality assurance managers or as institutional leaders who are into these quality assurance projects, get all these people all together. So the the stakeholder theory, which was incepted by Freeman in 1984, what it says in a nutshell is that the success of any organization depends on managing the interest of all its stakeholders. So it is not just, you know, faculty, students, or any other stakeholders per se, but all these stakeholders, they are partners in the success of the big project of elevating and transforming the institution. So it's conversion of interest, if you would like so. So this is the stakeholder theory. Then the social exchange theory. So it is similar to, very similar to the stakeholders theory, but this time we're focusing on the psychology of the stakeholders. So the individuals, they will engage with you whenever they see that they have benefits that go beyond or that outweigh the costs related to their engagement. You see, if we talk about faculty members, whenever we go for accreditation, the first thing that comes in mind, and actually that's what I'm living these days, is that change in workload, teaching overload, ambiguity in the policies. And every time you have basically to explain the why behind that and what are, besides the costs that the faculty are bearing, what are the advantages and the benefits that strategically they could get out of this. So this is a nice theory. I would recommend, you know, if any of you is interested in the psychology of individuals in this kind of settings, to look at. The last one, and this could, you know, it dates back to 1947, Levine's change model. So basically, we have three stages. The first stage is to unfreeze. So basically, you end up coming to an institution. You have people who have their routines. You have organizational inertia in doing things. So you need to create the motivation to change. Why we are doing that? The why is very important. We start with the why. So to explain and re-explain and re-explain. Once this is done, you start implementing the change, right? So you implement new processes, new routines, new policies, new support, etc. And then you refreeze. Okay, so once this is done, the negotiation is taking place or took place with the faculty members, with the students, with the academic and non-academic staff. You institutionalize all what you have in formal documentation. And basically, you know, for those of you who are familiar with accreditation processes and quality assurance, it's all about the documentation end of the day. Actually, it's the starting point, you know, when you prepare your base room and all these kind of documents that goes along. So unfreeze, change, and refreeze. Obviously, when we are talking about stakeholders, the first mapping that comes in mind is that internal versus external stakeholders. And actually, I wouldn't call it versus, because both of them, they are complementing each other's in the sense that they go in line with the vision we share with them for the institution. So the internal stakeholders, and actually, these are the people we are working on them, or we are going to work with them on a daily basis. The operations, you see them every day, every single day. They are very important. And the external stakeholders, these are the validators. These are the ones who are going to brand your institution, you know, when you get in touch with them. So let's start by a few stakeholders, internal stakeholders. So the first one you need to engage or you are going to be in touch with, obviously, are the executive leadership, right? So the top manager, the senior leadership team, the president of the university, the provost, the dean of the institution, if he's not the one or she is not the one leading this change. But in any case, here the buy-in of the top management of the institution is paramount, is a non-negotiable step for the success of this accreditation project. Because end of the day, these are the guys who are going to set the top-down tone so that the project takes place. Because these are, as I said, strategic project, and these guys, the senior leadership team, they need to adhere to this reform. The second stakeholders internally, obviously, here the faculty. And I guess, at least the stereotype is that one of the most complex and difficult group of stakeholders we deal with are the faculty members. And I couldn't agree more, because faculty members, it's a different beast. They have their own world, their own objectives, their own way of doing things. Obviously, here we are talking about all the faculty members you have, because you have like full-time faculty members, part-time faculty members, and both of them, they are important. Then it depends on the proportion of which category is larger than the others. So now I'm running an institution where a big chunk of our top faculty members are just part-time faculty members. See what I mean? So basically, you cannot, or you don't want to lose the best elements that you have, the best academic resources that you have, despite the fact that they are not permanent. But from the other hand, you need to run the reform. And that's why, you need to explain what is their stake in there. You see, because the curriculum is with them. They are the ones who are in front of the students. They are the ones, agents of learning. See, so definitely, these are the second category of stakeholders are very important. Third category of internal stakeholders, obviously, are the academic and the administrative staff in general, not just the hands, but the administrative staff in general. And here we are talking about, if I put it, as equivalent to a company, the middle managers, okay? Head of departments, director of programs, the IT, the registrar, the student affairs. So all these nice people, they are there to support the academic success of the institution, but obviously, whenever you undertake this quality assurance project, their daily activities will be by any means impacted. And that's why, interacting and get them buy-in the project is very important in this perspective. Because in the end, it's nice to strategize, it's nice to put the strategies you would like, but who is going to implement this strategy on the ground, on the field? So these are the people who are going to implement this on the ground. For the internal stakeholders, the last type of internal stakeholders are the students. Obviously, this goes without saying. This is, if not the most important, I would say, stakeholder or group of stakeholders, because end of the day, who are we serving? We are serving students. We are supporting the learning journey of the students. And in the end, we need to talk to the students to explain to them why we are doing that. Because it's about the value for their degrees. It's about the employability that they will have once we succeed into this. And obviously, the students have an important role as partners, because in the end, they are the ones who are going to spread, the positive image of the institution once the success is there. Then I would move to the external partners, alumni and the employers. I guess, these are indissociable external stakeholders with whom we need to explain what we are doing in terms of quality assurance, because definitely, even though they are not impacted directly, but They are the ones who are going, as alumni, they are the ones who are going to spread the brand of the institution. The employers, they are the ones who are going to employ our students, right? So definitely we need to explain to them so that they become proponent of the quality assurance we are implementing in our institutions. For the employers, it's good that they know or that they have students coming from an institution that have the seal of quality compared to other institutions that does not. Accreditators and regulators. This is very important. Accreditators, yes, we know if we're going for AACSB, if we're going for EFMD, AMBA, or any other accreditation agency, yes. So we engage with them from the beginning, so that we get the validation, so that we get, the proximity with the quality they are preaching for. The ministry and the local regulators are very important. I'm experiencing myself, this in here. So after 1 year starting this reform that we are tackling, one of the most and indissociable, I would say, external partner is the Supreme Council of Universities. No discussion about this, because whatever change you are going to make into your curriculum, into your strategic positioning in terms of programs, it has to get this validation. So definitely, if you're going for quality assurance, you're going to reform your curriculum, so then it's good from the beginning to be in good terms and in good relationship with these regulators, so that down the road, they become partners of your journey and not waiting till the end to inform them about what you are doing, so that and then you'll end up having some kind of blocks somewhere. So when we talk about the engagement plans with these various groups, I would say communication is very important. In all this, communication is very important. No dissociate the project of running an accreditation or running a quality assurance project does not succeed without communication. And the communication is tailored according to the audience. So definitely there is no size fits all. Okay, so here if we see, for instance, I took some examples throughout the career I had, and from other institutions I've been through for accreditation visits. For instance, with the top or the senior leadership or the boards, it's good, to inform them on a periodic basis about what you are doing. It's nice, so that they are in the loop from the beginning. What is happening? What are the milestones? Right?
If I may, Helmi,
please.
To that point, I think it's very important for every school to have their accreditation manager or quality manager sitting at the executive board. If it shows that it's a strategic imperative, for the school, and not just something that you have to comply with. So I would start there, making sure that quality and accreditations are sitting on the right boards to be heard.
Yes, I couldn't agree more, Mélanie, on this point. I think I have said it the other time, and I repeating here. I've just taken the example of the new governance I'm putting in place in here, is that in the Dean's Council, a fixed seat is for the Director of Accreditations and Quality Assurance. I have it in my Dean's Council. The colleague is sitting there. She is a full member of the Dean's Council, participating in strategic decisions. Because why is that? It's very important, because this person, she should have like 360 degrees vision of what's going on in the institution. She's everywhere. And that's why her presence on the board is very important. Thank you, Mélanie, for raising this point. Getting back, to the communication channels for the faculty, yes, we need to inform them, the faculty, about what's going on. Sending frequent emails. I know not as frequent as 100 emails per day, but a wrap-up email about where we are heading, what we are doing, beginning of the semester, end of the semester, end of the academic year, it's always nice, to have this. Also, choosing the communication channel is very important. And let me tell you, I experienced this in one of the institutions I've been in before. We used to have this internal platform of communication. So the non-academic staff were extremely happy about this. And all the information, internal communication, when all of us, in a short period of time, I wouldn't say all of a sudden, but in a short period of time, all the communication, internal communication, the decisions, etc., were channeled through this internal platform. Okay, that's nice. You tell me. But after some time, because unfortunately there were no discussion with the various parties involved, it happened that the last people involved or the last people engaged with this platform were the faculty members. Helmi, what's going on? Why the faculty are not interacting with us? The faculty, they are not. No, actually, it's not a matter of the faculty, they are not interacting with you, because the faculty, they have a different communication protocol. And let me tell you, I am a faculty member myself. The best communication platform for the faculty up to today are emails. Conservative, would you say? Yes, it is. But definitely, I'm not judging the platform or the means of communication per se, conservative or not, but this is a means of communication that feeds these particular stakeholders. With the students, it's different. Social media, we have discovered Discord, too many other new platforms that are popping up from here and there. So that's why the choice of the right communication channel and the frequency of communication is very important. Also, we need to design some specific engagement activities. So for instance, usually I establish an accreditation committee. So the accreditation committee would be the committee that we have, either the dean chairing this committee, I'm chairing this committee myself, or the associate dean for quality assurance, or senior leadership or person from the senior leadership team. And then you engage the other parties. You'll have faculty representative, you have representatives from other academic and non-academic departments, so that they represent more or less all the standards that we have for the accreditations. It's 360 degree, especially if we're going for an institutional accreditation. It's very important, in my opinion, actually. And by the way, these are just examples. An example that could work for an institution could not work for another, because it's a matter of resources, it's a matter of size, it's a matter of how people perceive this culture, institutional culture or country culture, right? But definitely, these are some ideas from the ground that worked when we talk about the engagement of the various stakeholders, right? Having open meetings with all the colleagues, academic and non-academic, is very important. And I believe as of today, many of the institutions, they have, the first induction day for the staff or for the faculty at the beginning of each academic year. They have some strategic retreat at the end of the year. This is also very important, so that, everybody is embarked into this journey of transformation of the institution. Definitely, there are some other, actually the sky is the limit here to be creative, in the modalities you put in place to engage your various stakeholders. You see, recently we have a grant writing workshop with the European Union for our faculty members, so that they know that we have, opportunities to get funding out of the paved ways, and it was kind of very good. We didn't know that. This is very nice. The institution is changing. We are putting research, as a strategic dimension, and to implement it, we started having, these people coming to talk about how to secure grants, etc. Same thing for the students. Same thing for the curriculum change. So the sky is the limit, honestly speaking, when it comes, to be creative in these modalities. Feedback. And this is very important, because it's nice engaging, in these events or having these projects like student satisfaction surveys or course feedback, course evaluation, etc. But I would say most importantly is to get all this, you analyze it as a decision maker, you take what needs to be taken, and then get back. Don't be afraid to get back to the various stakeholders to share the findings with them. Some findings, they are good. They go in line with your strategic reforms. Some others, they could be going against you. But definitely, go for a feedback loop. Why is that? Because you're giving an opportunity to these people, to speak up, to say their opinions. Don't forget, you are the ultimate leader. You are operating in a cooperative environment, you open discussions, etc. But definitely, the ultimate decision is yours. And the more we have this discussion, the more we discover that there are some items that we might have never thought of. And actually, this morning we just had this discussion. One of the team in the data analysis team, he discovered something that none of us on the Dean's Council would have been able to discover it. It was just because we shared all this with these guys. So the feedback is very important so that we build all together, this future institution we are aiming for.
And yes, again, if I may jump
Please.
in, I think it's also important because if the feedback is negative, then some of them might be discouraged, but others will see it as a challenge to do better. And if it's positive, then it's very rewarding. And I have an example from when I was working at a business school with students. We used Peregrine as a way to measure, as an indirect measure for AOL. So, all the students in a cohort would take a test. It's not individual grades. It's like the results are for the cohorts. And because it shows you against other schools in the world, then where they performed very well, they were so proud, like in ERS and subjects like that. And others, they were a little under it. So it helped actually review the curriculum with the teachers. But it showed the students, and I remember getting those emails from students after I sent them the feedback on the results, and they were really happy actually to hear about it. So I think to also look back with the students being part of a very important stakeholders, include them in the feedback loop also. They need to know what's happening, and if they're engaged in quality on some level or other, they need to know how they perform, and maybe it will motivate them also to get engaged more. So just a quick example. Oh, have we lost Helmi? Helmi! All right, so apparently my example was not good. He left. No. Some connection problems, I think, that we had a little bit earlier before the start of the webinar. So going on again on feedback loops. So tell me when you join back, just tell me so that I stop talking. There are other...
You can still continue to speak, huh, Mélanie, if you want to.
Yeah, that's what I'm going to do, because it would be an awkward silence otherwise. Oh, he has completely left. All right, so you know what? That's okay, because I actually have his slides, so I can take it from there. Where were we?
Could you send us the slides after?
Yeah, sure. As we usually do.
Yeah.
Oh, here.
Right.
So yes, we were talking about feedback loop and being transparent, which I think is very important in all the matters related to accreditations and quality, because if people don't know what's happening, they will not engage. And I think that's one of the basis of getting engagement from your various stakeholders. If they don't know what or why, and this goes back to what Helmi was saying about why being the start of everything. They will not engage. So be clear about why you're doing things. It cannot be just because we have to. The compliance factor does not motivate the troops much. So if you have determined and if you're very clear with the why you're doing something related to quality, then you will be a better ambassador, I would say, about quality, and it will multiply. So yes, transparency, feedback in communication is key. Again, it's also very important when you provide feedback to also recognize the efforts that have been made. So an example that I will have is, I got a message from Helmi saying he's trying to reconnect. Is celebrate little victories. So obviously the big victories are obtaining an accreditation. So, but I know a lot of schools that actually don't take the time to celebrate such milestones. But I've also seen the contrary, where there was even a ceremony involving all the stakeholders to celebrate obtaining a first accreditation or even the renewal of an accreditation. So make sure that you celebrate, and the smaller steps might be improving your numbers, because we're talking about quality and we're talking about loops. So when you have numbers that are getting better, recognize the efforts that everyone has put in. And I mean, you don't have to have a gala about having a 2% more than the last time, but you know what I mean. It's make sure that in that feedback, you also have the recognition of what's happening, because that will lead to more motivation to be a part of it. And yes, it's and also that way it aligns, yes, your goals with the value for each of your stakeholders. Helmi was talking about how communication should be different and specific to each of your stakeholder groups, but the value is also different for everyone. So you have to recognize this and make sure that you see them and that those stakeholders know what the value for them is. By building that that state of mind, it will lead to more motivation to get engaged. So performance-driven recognition frameworks. If you have a reward system that can help you motivate your troops, because the philosophy of, oh, he's back. I've kept moving, Helmi, okay?
No, very good, very good. Actually, this is the purpose of having a plan B, you see. So it's always good, you know, to
it's good that I have the slides, right?
Yes, yes. My apologies. We lost connection on all the university. They are having some kind of maintenance, and yes. Well, so let me share my screen once again, and I'll take it from there.
I've moved
apologies for that.
A couple of slides, and we are here now.
Okay, so there we go. I think we are good. Let me just make them large. Up. It should be okay. So definitely, you know, to keep the engagement as any human being, we are always expecting rewards. So putting a reward system either for the faculty, the staff, in order to get the success out of these projects is very important. So, for instance, for this year, we are putting the Dean's List for the students, right? We are putting the award for the best teaching, or the best teaching award, the best research and impact award. For the faculty member, I remember, you know, getting years back when we were running huge institutional accreditations, namely AACSB. The deal was with the president of the university at that time, is that whenever we succeed this first accreditation, there will be some kind of monetary reward for all the people who participated into this project. The amount was nominal, but the impact was huge because we celebrated all this definitely once we got the accreditation. And then, you know, these people who are really engaged in this accreditation project, they got this some kind of recognition. And it made a huge effect even for the other accreditation. So this is the idea. It's the reciprocity principle, if you wish, in psychology. So you give so that you receive. Okay. So then what we have done in another institution is we publicly celebrate, for instance, for faculty members, their publications. And I believe as of today, many of the institutions engaged in this nice practice. So whenever somebody is getting like an A publication, yes, we celebrate this and we share the information either in a newsletter or even by simple email. Once again, you know, it depends on whom we are targeting. If it is an external or external stakeholders, having a newsletter is always, you know, good to share what you are doing with the external stakeholders. If it is internal, it depends. If we are faculty members, it could be through emails, it could be through your internal communication platforms, etc. Okay. Just to finish, you know, all this, and actually I put this, the last slide on purpose, where it should be from the beginning, but this is just to wrap up what we have said, the shared vision, the shared values. For those of you who attended the previous seminar, we put it in place. We said when we have this Wilson 1211 model, the first step is always, you know, share the vision, the values, the mission with your colleagues, with the stakeholders, the various stakeholders, either internal or external, because definitely this is what will drive all your story. This is what will drive all the reforms you are undertaking. So today, if you'd like to be one of the best institutions in research, yes, why not, right? Or impact for research, let's put it like that. Yes, why not? But definitely this has to be declined at all the levels, at all the departments, and it should be, you know, present in all the meetings at all the levels of the university. So today, for instance, in here at ESLSCA University, we have the University Council, and the decision of the University Council are declined to the schools. But, you know, the story is the same. The vision is the same. We would like to be one of the leading institutions in 1, 2, 3. So this is what is shared at the University Council. This is what is shared at the various meetings at the schools levels. And this is what is declined with our stakeholders in open halls or in the newsletter or in the various communication we establish with the colleagues. Of course, alumni are very important. The industry is very important, and also the other important component with whom we need to share the vision are the regulators and the NGOs, because definitely we have an impact or a different social impact that we are sharing with these people. On this, I will stop here. Thank you for your attention, and apologies once again for this small inconvenience related to the internet connectivity. It happens, but Mélanie has done the job. Thank you very much.
You don't know that. I may or I may not have. Thank you, Helmi. So do you have any questions or maybe want to share your experiences? How do you engage people in your quality processes at your school? Or what are your main challenges, maybe? Anything you would like to share? So Emmanuel was telling me that this is the subject of her thesis. So Emmanuel, would you like to jump in?
In fact, yes, I'm doing, how do we say, thèse
thesis.
This is a thesis. It's about the stakeholders in the university who make a better school. Means show the value of the school, and I'm working with in the accreditation. So I'm working with all the stakeholders of the school, and I observe that the stakeholders of the school are not really helpful, and that's why it's very difficult for us to make a better school. So do you have a solution, a miracle for that? I take.
Look, Emmanuel, a miracle. I don't think so, right? But definitely, you know, some proven experiences could help. Let me tell you, the first time, again, you know, I'm not that old, but to like 20 years back, around 20 years back, it was my first exposure to the quality assurance and the accreditations and the reforms, etc. I was a young, academic managers, head of department, etc. And I was tasked, you know, of participating in these projects. But what simplified this and made our lives easier is my first slide I shared with you in the internal stakeholders. You see, the senior leadership team. That was a sine qua non condition for the success of what we have undertaken. Because I remember we were in a crappy institution at that time, an institution that was living on an old legacy. People were in their comfort zone. People did not want to change. People did not see at the time the value of what we are doing. And of course, you know, you are coming from a different country, or coming from a different perspective with different ways of doing things. Resistance to change was kind of horrendous, you see. But definitely, the only protection at that time we had with my dean, right? At the time I was coming from Milano, my dean was coming from the US, the other dean was coming from another state from the US, and we were missioned to undertake a mission of reforming the university according to AACSB 2003 standards. Imagine, 2003 standards, they are very different from the 2020 standards we live right now. The 2020 standards, just to put things into context, for AACSB are more inclusive. So we were in the Middle East applying 2003 AACSB standards, which were US tailored, and we would like to make this project, you know, kind of being successful. It was a hell of a challenge, but definitely, you know, the support of the president of the university at that time, because it was kind of a top-down approach. This is the way, that's how we are going to do it. Like it or dislike it, this is the way. We had the support of the vice president of academic affairs at that time. We have the support of the director of the institutional reforms, and all these kind of people, or this group of people, helped us. So I think this is definitely the starting point, you know. And once again, Mélanie had just pointed out, and I said it again, putting the accreditation people in boards or on some executive board will help a lot. But so this comes also from the executive leadership. So okay, this is, you know, my take on this.
Okay, so you mean that the executive leader, the governance can talk to all the stakeholders, and thanks to that, it could work? I think the base is the governance.
It would help. Definitely.
Of course it helps, you know,
not because
sure. a memo from the president of the university, or if we are talking like in France, you know, independent business schools, you see. So a memo from the director general, and you'll see, you know, 70% of the doors will be open.
Yes, but they have to be convinced themselves. That's the thing.
Yeah.
That's the key. That they have to be engaged themselves, not just say, okay, people, we need to do quality and accreditation. But if they're not convinced of the value of what they're doing, instead of just getting, you know, not just getting the accreditation, because that's an issue that we see regularly.
Yeah. In fact, my question is how to show, how to make them understand that it's very important for school. How can they understand that? Because
for
when
the
we ask for all the no for the colleagues, I mean, not for the governance, but they don't understand that.
So let me give you another proven, you know, from the experience, because once again, you know, there is no like miracle formula, you see. So at the beginning of every year, so there is the welcoming note from the dean or the director general, right? You see, if we would like such a project to be put on the top priority of the institution and everybody contributes, this project should be a subject, first of all, that is highlighted by the director general and the executive team in the welcoming or opening day with the faculty and with the various stakeholders. Second, you know, it should be in the comics. See what I mean? Other than that, yes, I understand your position. I myself, you know, sometimes served as the accreditation director for, and I know what you have. But definitely, you know, the support of the highest authorities, I would say, in the institution, is a sine qua non condition for success. Otherwise, you know, you'll be fighting les moulins à vent. You see what I mean? So.
Okay.
Fighting windmills.
Thanks.
But Emmanuel, to go back to your question, I think it all depends on being able to identify the value for each stakeholder. Because if you don't, you cannot just say, we do this for that reason, and it will, you know, it will be convincing to everybody. Obviously, it won't, because the students, they don't have the same interest in all this as faculty would, especially faculty, they have like monetary incentives. Students don't, and your colleagues, the staff, they don't care. I mean, they have a lot of, they have a lot of work to do. So you just have like, it's easy, but think about what the value is for them. You know, we don't have a magic wand, and we don't have like a magic formula that will fit all situations in all schools. But I think that's what you should think about. Vasily, you raised your hand.
Mélanie, if you allow me, for Emmanuel, I'll be more than interested, you know, in knowing more about your work in your thesis.
I can send it to you, no problem.
Avec plaisir. Thank you.
I will.
Vasily?
Yeah, thank you. So, of my own experience, there have often been tensions at two levels at least. One is at the board, where different deans have different interests and sort of do not really care about each other's concerns. And I have in mind for one particular case, development. So associate dean for development, be it program development, international development, or whatsoever, and quality or accreditations. You know, he was sort of committing the school to things, and the school then had to follow. The associate dean for programs had to follow, although they were all on the board, on the same board, but one had say their bonuses based on the number of partnerships and the number of students they could have. So neglecting other stuff, thinking, okay, you execute, and accreditation is your problem. You will follow. And the second thing I've noticed, and I'm sorry if I contradict your point, is that it is all but enough having everything coming top down. Of my own experience, in most schools where I've worked, it was rejected by faculty, by academic staff, when it was a top-down approach, thinking this is something for the board. They've decided, irrespective of us, irrespective of what we can do, of also our academic freedom, and it might be some extra work which we do not really understand. And I remember a thing at the beginning, let's say, at the very beginning of IOL at Grenoble École de Management, I remember that we were rejecting it. I also remember that a number of universities overseas, like Université Libre de Bruxelles, so Solvay Business Schools in Brussels, decided not to go for AACSB because they thought, oh, our academic staff will never go for IOL. We can do whatever we want, it will never happen, and then we will have problems. So my question is for you is, how can you consider reconciling board members, making sure that they converge towards the same direction, and how can you associate frontline people, so academic staff, in this?
Vasily, thank you for your remark. Very interesting, really. I couldn't agree more with you when we say that it is a top-down approach. It is not, in fact, but actually it's a starting point, you see, because at the end of the day, any institution has a strategy, right? Strategy, we know how to do it. We engage the stakeholders, etc. But when we say, like this quality assurance or getting, an international label is part of the strategy and it is formalized at the top level of the institution, it helps, you see, because it becomes kind of part of the roadmap. Now, what remains to do, as you said, definitely engage in the faculty members. My academic freedom and my interests are not convergent in terms of resources with what you're requiring from me. I definitely agree. And actually, this is where the challenge we face as academic leaders, as deans, you see. So we have to reconcile all these kind of people. My own experience is we start with the clear communication to set the expectations, right? And to get what I would call the intellectual acupuncture, you see. These guys or these people who are really convinced about the usefulness of the project, the benefits that outweigh the costs for everybody, and we start talking. Definitely, I wouldn't tell you that I have never faced resistance or I could have pushed, everybody to do what is expected from them. Not at all. It's kind of difficult. But what I'm sure about it is that if you look at throughout time, like on a span of time of 3 to 4 years to 5 years, when you have your first visit, etc., definitely there is a change. Definitely there is a change. If you manage to embark, I don't want to say like fixed figures, but the majority of your faculty members, this is per se is an achievement. We are talking about the faculty members, as always kind of the most difficult, I would say, stakeholders, but definitely, even the non-academic staff, they have their own way of doing things. But I'm an adept of open communication, you see. I'm an adept of getting the right governance where people sit together, where people exchange. Because once communication becomes clear, and even my PhD was about communication myself, you see. Once the communication is there with everybody, it helps a lot. Does it achieve 100%? I'm not sure. No, I don't think so. But definitely it achieves the majority. And once again, as I said to Emmanuel, honestly speaking, and here, Vasily, most probably you experienced this, there is no size fits all. There is no like one formula. We are dealing with complex creatures, which are human beings, right? And everybody is a separate case per se. But we try to formalize, these things, or institutionalize, I would say, to avoid any institutional inertia. Thank you for raising this point.
We have a question in the conversation by Mario, who asked, have you seen innovative uses of technology or data dashboards to involve stakeholders more actively in the accreditation process?
Yes, I have seen that, and actually, the last technological innovation I've seen, it's in-house. It was this morning, you know, when we had this morning that they just showed me a real time some kind of. Well, I'm not an technology expert, but as far as they told me, I don't know whether it is true or not. You see, it's AI thing, you know, when it extracts the data from all the warehouses we have, etc., so that I get like the dashboard in front of me to make the right decision. And this dashboard is kind of spread with all the leadership team and everybody. It's based on Power BI. Microsoft, and each one of the team will have access to this data in real time. So this answers at least two requests. The first of the request is transparency, because end of the day we are an institutional project, so I have nothing to hide, right? So that's how I operate, or that's how we operate. And second, it helps, you know, to make a kind of collective decision. I don't know whether that was the question or not, but I try to be as close as possible.
And I also have seen use of technology recently. I mean, it's not super innovative, but it's Power BI to actually show a visual representation of quality results, whether it's AOL results, measures, or other indicators that you might have. And then it's processed through Power BI and provides beautiful tables and graphs and everything, and they are shared with the key stakeholders. And another thing, it was made more manually, but it was something like 10 years ago. So I'm guessing that now there would be a more innovative way to doing that. And it was specifically on AOL, where the school would print out kind of, it looked like a speedometer, you know, in cars, to show the percentage reached on each given. It was back then learning goals and not competency goals, but same idea. And they would actually put them up where the students were, like in the cafeteria hall or something, so that they would see the results of the direct and indirect measures, and it would engage them more. So actually, it was quite efficient to engage the students. So I don't know if you had, Mario, other ideas or questions.
Interesting.
Okay, you're welcome. All right, well, with only 2 minutes to spare, I can say that maybe we'll stop now, because otherwise we will go over time, and unfortunately I have a meeting right after. So thank you so much, Helmi, for joining us again.
Thank you for the invite.
It was interesting to see that actually the participants today were mostly from Europe.
Yes.
We had a few from the region. So I don't know if the topic had something to do with it. It would be interesting to know, or if it was just a coincidence. I don't know.
It's always a hot topic, you know. Engaging stakeholders is always a hot topic. In Middle East, Africa, Europe, America, US, it's always, you know, the topic.
Yes, exactly. Yes, I know, and especially faculty engagement. So we have a few representatives, Egypt also. So thank you for being here. We had a few others that kind of left the webinar a few minutes ago. So it was nice of you being here. We are done for the 24-25 season of webinars. We do remind you that we will have an in-person seminar with Helmi at ESLSCA Egypt in Cairo in October. More about that to come very soon. Yes, the planning, the agenda will be communicated very soon. And as for the rest of the webinars for next year, I don't have all my dates or all my guests, but I can tell you a few topics. Something about experiential learning with a school that has taken it to the next level. one about Dean and accreditations, how it should be a love story. And it goes back to saying that that your deanship and governance really should be engaged in accreditations. And then we have something about evaluating competencies and soft skills more specifically, and some very French specific topics. So see you soon and see you next year. Thank you again, Helmi.
Thank you, guys.
you.
Bye.
See you. Bye.